All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. Sorry, it took a little moment, a little technical difficulties and different things tonight. So, when the gremlins come out, that means the major stuff's about to happen. And this one is entitled, I think Iran is about to get hit. And you asked my opinion, I think Iran's about to get hit. So, I'm going to make the case for you right now on the Crisis Report. So, all I got to do is sit back, chill, and I'll make the case. So, that's that. All right. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Check them out. Link in the description. Take your 401k IRA and turn it into gold and silver. Other than that, X, Twitter, Minds, Gab, True Social, Subscribe Star, Local, Substack, where you get a nice transcript of this stuff. We're going to lead you on the path to knowing most comprehensive news on YouTube, bar none. So if you're like that, then let's go. Here we go. It's your Crisis Report for January 12th, 2026. Democrat Senator John Fetterman says President Trump needs to take immediate action, military style, to bring Iran down. Representative Randy Fine has launched a legislation that would authorize Trump to acquire Greenland and to place it on a path to becoming America's 51st state. Lindsey Graham says he's so eager to bomb Iran that he hasn't slept or eaten in 3 or 4 days. Israel is enlisting pro-Trump social media influencers to a new Washington lobby effort, planning to spend around $900,000 on campaigns for a large U.S. audience. Bill Gates warns the world is sliding into a new dark age as society moves backwards. Trump says that if for any reason the Supreme Court rules against his tariffs, we're screwed. The reason why is because we're going to have to pay trillions of dollars back or something like that. So, yeah. U.S. is going to allow Mexico to provide oil to Cuba despite cutting off Venezuelan supplies. Trump is going to interview Rick Reeder for Federal Reserve Chair as BlackRock's chief investment officer for global fixed income. Reeder managed approximately $2.4 trillion in assets. No pressure. State of Minnesota, Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and St. Paul sue Trump government to stop an enforcement surge by ICE. Trump declares that any country doing business with Iran will pay a 25% tariff on, quote, any and all business being done with the United States of America. U.S. virtual embassy, Iran says leave Iran now. Autistic Barbie has officially launched, complete with headphones, communication tablet, fidget spinner, and she also avoids eye contact for the real experience and features flexible joints for stimming. Now, when I was doing this, I was talking to Mrs. PrepperNow first, and she's like, why is this bad? You know, there's obviously a crap load of autistic people now. Maybe it'll help a little bit. So I'm not going to make fun of it, but it's, I don't know, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept to have for a Barbie doll. I digress. Study shows a surge in private equity firms acquiring autism therapy centers in the U.S. since 2015, with over 500 acquired in the last decade. So I guess a lot of autism support centers are now up there. It's almost like the numbers have exploded. Oh, wait, they have. All right. Group of AI industry insiders create a project called Poison Fountain, urging website operators to help poison the data used by AI models. That's funny. I mean, it's not like that you have to be concerned about all that, folks. You know, it's not like there's a AI apocalypse coming. It's just a bunch of insiders telling, hey, put a bunch of websites and put a bunch of weird data on there so it throws things off, so it doesn't become our master. Meta announces nuclear energy projects with 3 companies, Vistra, TerraPower, and Oklo, unlock up to 6.6 gigawatts to power American leadership in AI innovation. Musk introduces the Secretary of War Hegseth at Starbase, Texas, saying the goal of Space Force is ultimately going beyond our star system to other star systems where we may meet aliens or discover long-dead civilizations. U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth says very soon we will have the world's leading AI models on every unclassified and classified network throughout our department, from the back offices of the Pentagon to the tactical edge on the front lines. China files paperwork with the ITU for 2 large satellite networks in space consisting of approximately 200,000 satellites. U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth today, at my direction, says CDAO will exercise its full authority to enforce the DOW data decrees at Department of War and make all appropriate data available across federated IT systems for AI exploitations, including mission systems across every service and component. Eric von Daniken is renowned for his book, Chariots of the Gods, and for fueling the global UFO interest, has died at age 90. Some of his work was proposed that ancient civilizations like the Mayans and Egyptians were visited by extraterrestrials. Israeli hospitals have been ordered to prepare for an immediate shift to emergency operations amid rising tensions with Iran and fears of possible escalation. Totally normal. Israeli media has begun to admit that Mossad is behind the protests in Iran. Mossad spurs the protests in Iran, according to the Jerusalem Post. Trump has threatened 25% tariff on any country doing business with Iran. Turkey warns the U.S. and Israel to stay out of Iran and calls out Israel for fueling protests. Trump is likely to strike Iran, according to Axios. Iran, Haro, UK. I like to pronounce things correctly. Sorry, it's just me. This is exactly what we need. A woman in Britain has been arrested, searched, and escorted to a police station for feeding pigeons on a high street. Woman detained for feeding pigeons. Violates local public space protection orders. She refused to provide details, leading to a brief detention. She was released within 30 minutes without charges. At least 648 protesters killed in Iran crackdown, according to rights groups. Russia attacks 2 more civilian ships in the Black Sea. Trump. Effective immediately, any country doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran will get a tariff of 25% on any and all business being done with the United States. This order is final and conclusive. Thank you for your attention to this matter, this detail. National Security Council of Iran, our forces have prepared plans to respond to any possible American or Israeli assault. France has evacuated non-essential diplomatic staff from their families from Iran amid escalating regional tensions. It's coming, folks. U.S. State Department has issued an advisory urging American citizens still in Iran to depart immediately by any available means, over land, via Armenia or Turkey. Multiple other countries are now asking its citizens to leave after the advisory. U.S. virtual embassy says leave Iran now. Air Base France, or an Air Force, let's try this again, an Air France Boeing 777 from Bengaluru to Paris, broadcasting a squawking 7700 emergency on board. Being diverted to Ashgabat Air France flight AF191 departed Bengaluru 1122, flight radar from Terminal 2, flight to Paris CDG, Boeing 777-200ER aircraft climbed to cruise altitude 34,000 feet for about 4 hours after departure. The crew declared an emergency squawk and descended to FL-210 over Turkmenistan. Airline didn't confirm any issue, but the flight was delayed, estimated to land at 4:20 on Tuesday morning in Paris, while the scheduled departure time is 2 o'clock. Something happened. I don't know what it is. Iranian Crown Prince says he has received intelligence reports from inside the country that stating the Iran regime is actively making plans to leave the country. Senator Graham says to the Ayatollahs, "We don't talk as much as we need to. Have I offended you? As to your recent warning to American politicians, I hear Moscow is a winter wonderland. What do you think?" People wouldn't know what to do with snow if it hit them in the face. Russia's Medvedev says Trump needs to hurry. According to unverified information, in a few days, a sudden referendum may take place in which all 55,000 residents of Greenland could vote to join Russia. And then that's it. Trump is considering military strikes against Iran in response to the killing of protesters, but has not made a final decision, exploring diplomatic options. The issue will be discussed with Trump's national security team this week. Diplomacy still described by the White House as the preferred option. Minnesota Ice Watch chapter of the activist group Renee Good belonged to advises members to resort to tactics like swarming federal agents. It's a great way to get shot. Breaking their grip or shoving them to the ground. It's another great way to get shot. And attempting to extract detainees from officers' custody to de-arrest. How to get your butt kicked 101 by idiots. Congressman Randy Fine introduced a bill to annex Greenland. Proud to announce Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act. Bill that allows the president to find the means necessary to bring Greenland into the Union. Let me be clear, our adversaries are trying to establish a foothold in the Arctic, and we can't let that happen. By acquiring Greenland, we want to prevent our adversaries from controlling the Arctic region and secure our northern flank from Russia and China. State of Minnesota is suing the Trump administration over its widespread immigration operations, a federal invasion of the Twin Cities, according to a lawsuit filed on Tuesday or Monday, whatever. China's heavy reliance on Iranian oil imports. China has become the primary purchaser of oil from Iran, with Iranian crude contributing around 13.6% China's oil purchases in the first half of 2025. China buys around 90% of Iran's shipped oil, purchases on average of around 1.38 million barrels per day in the first half of the last year, according to Kepler data. Despite the sanctions on Iranian energy, Tehran's crude has attracted Chinese buyers thanks to discount rates of up to 7 or 8 barrels below global benchmarks. There you go. Energy at a lower cost than the benchmarks due to the complications involved with buying and transporting the fuel. Christy Noem on X says drones represent the new frontier of American air superiority. Under Trump, we are entering a new era to defend our air superiority, to protect our borders and the interior of the United States. With the creation of the DHS program, Executive Office of Unmanned aircraft systems and counter unmanned aircraft systems, President Trump continues his historic legacy in developing American dominance. This will help us continue to secure the border and cripple the cartels, protect our future, and keep Americans safe as they attend festivities and events during historic year of America's 250th birthday. Pam Bondi on X says, anyone who crosses the red line of assaulting law enforcement will be met with the full force of the Justice Department. New unsealed complaint, Luis Nino Moncado, an illegal alien in Portland with ties to Tren de Aragua, is allegedly have repeatedly rammed a border patrol vehicle, threatening the lives of federal law enforcement officers. That's a good way to go, Joe. Minneapolis mayor says DHS GTFO. Anti-ICE protester pepper sprayed in the face of CBP agents attempted to disperse a crowd of protesters following through at Minneapolis. Amir Sarfati is praying for Trump right now. A few hours ago, he was presented with various attack opinions and the scenarios that might follow each one. Let me put it this way. None offered an outcome that would stop the bloodshed in the short term, and when they know that, the decision becomes 1,000 times harder. Pentagon presents a wider range of attack options on Iran, previously responded, including options targeting nuclear sites, ballistic missiles. Most likely options are cyber attacks and military strikes against Iran's internal security apparatus. Trump is considering diplomatic options, but some American officials believe Iran is mainly trying to buy time. Of course they are. U.S. money market funds posted a $148.5 billion net inflow first week of 2026, third largest on record, only below the $240 billion mark and $200 billion inflows seen during the 2020 Ronademic. 2026 has surpassed every prior start to a year. U.S. households net worth jumped $6.1 trillion in quarter three, $181.6 trillion in all, almost entirely driven by equity holdings. That soared $5.5 trillion as the stock market hit a record high. U.S. workers are taking home less, yes we are, of what they produce than ever before. U.S. labor now reflects 53.8% of U.S. GDP, lowest since data began in 1947. Metric shows how much of an economic output each goes to the workers through wages, salaries, bonuses, and benefits. U.S. government job openings are plummeting since the 2022 peak. Available vacancies in the government have been dropped 532,000. So, decline in value of the Japanese yen has been remarkable. Gold prices in yen are up a record 712,000 yen per ounce. Since then, the start of 2025, gold prices denominated in the Japanese currency have risen 7.2%. Gold prices in yen terms have skyrocketed 364%. Former New York City mayor has launched a meme coin. Nearly $500 million in market cap has already been lost since the launch. Australia's foreign minister says the current Iranian government is no longer legitimate. Prime Minister Albanese saying that from Australia will get support a democratic Iran. Australia is the second UN member state to claim Islamic Republic is illegitimate. Protests in the city of Urmia, northwestern Iran, clash with IRGC security forces this evening. Protests in the country continue. Ukraine is currently experiencing another massive air attack by Russia, with reports of strikes in Kiev, Odessa, Kharkiv, and others. So, that, my friends, is your crisis report for January 12th, 2026, brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We're also brought to you, or we also have a space on X and Mind and Twitter and Gab and all that. Join us there. A couple bucks a month to become a member here on YouTube as well. And Substack, pay if you want, don't pay if you don't want. You get a full transcript. So that's the news, folks. God bless you all, and we will see you on the next one.